hoofs.
But they're sharp. I mean, now you see them in action. Like,
I love the red.
Sharp,
It makes them stick out.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I just gotta lean into this.
Yeah. Yep.
We live?
We are live.
Alrighty. Welcome to SoBo Radio. We're bringing you booze, reviews, and more. I'm Mike.
I'm Jake, and today we are sitting down with Lauren and Jason from Brewhound Dog Park. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys
So,
for coming out.
I guess we'll get into it. What is and how did you guys start this? Where did you get the idea to do this? And
Yeah.
kind of just tell us a little bit about your history, your story.
So Jason and I were hanging out down in Orlando and visiting some family, and we didn't have our dogs with us. And Jason was asking, man, like, such a cool spot, like, sitting around outside, having drinks. We were drinking Greyhounds, ironically. And he's like, why can't we, hang out, have our dogs with us off leash? Like, why aren't there places like that? And I'm immediately like, liability, that's probably why. And then we're sitting there talking about it more, and then I'm like, well, we're in Orlando. I'm like, people take their kids to water parks and drink. So I'm like, I'm just saying, I don't know really why. So then, we just started talking more and more about it on the drive home, and like started just doing some research and like, hey, let's kind of like take some baby steps and see if this is a thing we could do.
Was there a lot of like the legal issues, or is that a big concern when you first were starting up and everything?
It's always kind of scary when you want to mix alcohol with anything at all, period. And we're in such a sort of litigious society anyway that makes it extra scary. But we knew it was a good idea. We knew there was no way it was going to fail. The only way that it was going to fail is if we gave up.
Yeah, I see, like, especially now, everybody's really into their pets, and it's a great thing. But it's like kids. Like my aunt and uncle, their dog is their child, and it's a great thing. And I think that you guys are definitely able to harness on that, and it's killer. This is an awesome venue. You come in, bring your pup, have a good time, drink some beer, some coffee.
That was our story. Like we had 3 dogs at the time, and we were working 9-to-5 jobs, and so the dogs would sit at home all day and kind of there were 3 of them, but they didn't really play with each other. So we'd come home from work, and the days that we had opportunities to, we'd go to the dog park for 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes we'd sneak our own beers in there. But we'd see a lot of people doing the 20-minute shuffle, and then they'd bounce, and then the dog is like, I literally just got started. I'm going to have so much energy. You're not going to sleep tonight, so enjoy that. And so it sort of was born out of a necessity, too.
Well, and a lot of folks would be like on their phone too, like it's kind of like, I'm doing this thing that I don't really want to be doing because there's nothing for necessarily you there as a human. And so even just like coffee, like I'm like, why isn't there coffee at a dog park? Like why can't there? And so I'm like, maybe there can be. We're like, this, we can do some. And we just started taking baby steps and baby step to get here.
How long did this take you from like the initial idea to actually having this thing come out, opening up?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're rounding up, I think.
Yeah.
But 2.5 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From like
Inception.
Inception. Is it inception or conception? Did we conceive this? Well, I guess we kind of did.
We conceived and harnessed this child.
But there were, when we can't take credit for being totally original, although at the time we were like, oh my god,
we thought
no one's ever thought of this before.
Pretty original,
holy shit,
though.
this is amazing. But then we started doing our research, and there were
8 open, 2 other websites that they were coming soon, dog park bars in the country, and like bigger cities. I don't want to say cooler cities because Jacksonville is so rad, but
City, baby.
that was a plug for you, Angie.
But like Seattle and Dallas and Austin, Texas, and Denver had similar concepts, but mostly some were indoor. A lot of different aspects. Some were like full liquor bars where you can just let your dogs run around, and I was like, huh?
Get wild.
What? Now that's risky.
And if you've ever met Lauren, she doesn't half-ass anything. if it was all mine, this would be a lot different, a lot less big and grandiose. So, props to her for that.
I think that's a compliment.
It is. We wouldn't have had turf. We wouldn't have had a splash pad. I mean, all these different things. Lauren's like, we need to do this. And I was like, do you have any idea how much work that's going to be? And she's like, we're doing it. Okay. I'll follow you anywhere. Let's do this thing. And it worked. She doesn't cut corners, and it worked.
Thank you.
What made you put turf down? Is it easier to clean up after? Is that the reason?
Yeah, a few reasons, and it is an exorbitant cost and process. But when we were thinking about it, it was safety is a concern because when dogs are if you go to a dog park, there's always holes everywhere, and people can trip
Gotcha.
and have those issues. Dogs are also constantly digging because there's there's all sorts of organisms in the ground that they're smelling and want to get to, so that's why they're doing it. And so there's the dirt factor. You always have to go in knee-high boots or else you'll just be covered in mud. So for folks, and then their dogs are filthy, so then there's the bathing component, which we were going to initially have baths for folks to bathe their dogs and stuff like that here. But then when we decided to do the turf, we knew that we were maybe we'll just do it down the line, but then we'd have to close for a month and a half to do
Right,
it.
yeah.
So
Turf ain't
let's
easy.
just do it all in the beginning, and we thought we got this great deal on it. It turned out to not be the case, but Jason pulled up his bootstraps and basically finished the project of the turf himself with our neighbor, which was incredible.
Wow.
And so now he knows how to do turf. So anybody out there that
Shout out, plug.
No, I'm totally
That's a
joking.
real
I don't
good
think he
deal.
wants to see turf ever again. But we are so glad we did it because, the safety factor, the cleanliness factor, we also have this infill that Jason just put down into the turf, which helps keep it 20 degrees cooler. It breaks down the microbes of any kind of, scent that's being distributed into the turf. So it's just...
You
it's
could
an
have said
awesome
pee.
thing. No.
Probably.
No, we don't say pee here. No. Urine, no. No, the scent.
What's your membership package? We were looking at it a little bit, and then
Yeah.
can you kind of tell us a little bit about that and how the breakdown goes?
Yeah. So we have day passes for $8 if you just kind of want to come and check it out. Or if, you're coming in from out of town and you hear about it, you're like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me go check that thing out. $8 is good for the entire day. So you can come and go as you please with your pup. You want to come in the morning, grab your coffee, go to the beach, take your dog home, come back later. That's all included in the $8. We just need to make sure that when folks do come, they bring their vaccination records.
Okay, that was
Distemper,
my next question.
rabies,
Yes.
and if they're older than 10 months old, they need to be spayed or neutered, just for safety concerns. No children under the age of 12 in the park, also for safety. All the rules and everything that we've put into the process is all for safety.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of goes without saying. But and then month pass per dog is $25. Annual, we have 3 tiers of annual memberships. They're all named after some of our favorite trees. SoBo Palmetto, or the Palm package, starts at $195, and it essentially gets you full access to the yard during business hours. The next one up from that is the Cypress, Taxodium disticum. And
Tree huggers.
that gets you
Total tree huggers.
and that one's $265, and that gets you full access to the yard, everything that the Palm gets you, plus you get a free bold bean coffee and or loose leaf tea throughout the week.
Nice.
Any of those days in the week that we're
Hot
open.
or iced.
Yeah. And then the one above that, Corcus virginiana, or the live oak package, is $365.
It's on the mug.
And so you get a member mug,
A sick cup.
which we should have brought one over here.
Yeah.
And
It's sweet.
when you show up with your member mug on Fridays, you get a free drink into that mug, in addition to the free
Beer, wine.
coffee, loose leaf tea throughout the week as well. So you get 2 free drinks per week with the oak package, and so it pays for itself if you come
Yeah.
every Friday.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
killer.
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, because that just that free. If you got a beer every Friday, it would
Yeah.
be well over 365.
Plus,
so
that's like $1 a day when you break
It
it down.
is
and
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
it's-
Gym membership.
Exactly,
When you explain it like
Right.
that, it's not
Exactly.
bad.
It's like-
Yeah.
You can do CrossFit for 3 months, or you can bring your dog to the dog park.
and drink.
Yeah,
You
and
can
drink,
drink your
yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah. And we've been tossing around the idea, and it's probably not that hard to do, but to start tying nonprofit donation
Oh, that'd
into
be
those
cool.
packages as well.
Yeah.
That'd be very cool.
Just for because we started giving back in every capacity that we could. All the events that led up to us finally opening. I don't know how many events we did, but it seems like a lot. And we weren't pocketing any cash from any of those events. It was all going to other organizations, and I think that's, one of the reasons that we've been well received is because it's kind of, been altruistic from the beginning, and it's going to continue to be.
I mean, that's what it was about. When we initially wanted to do this, it was to build a space for people to come and meet new people, to gather and hang out and be outside and enjoy this, beautiful weather that we constantly have, whether it's hot or not. I mean, we have this incredible place that we live, and like to just harness it and like be in it and love it and like
enjoy it.
Meet new and then people are out there, and somebody brought this to our attention, people are out in the yard and like meeting new friends, and like a lot of people aren't on their phone, they're just taking pictures and videos here and there, but typically they're here by themselves with their dogs, meeting other people. Some folks had been coming from the beginning, and they came over to us the other night, and they're like, we met our best friends here, like we're now going to their wedding, and we only met like a month ago here at your place. And we're like, what? And things like that just keep happening, and it's so beautiful, because that's what it's about, is this community and like getting to know your neighbors and like being a part of something bigger, and coming here and meeting each other, and then going out and doing other things like together, going for a hike, going camping, like whatever it might be, just like coming out, meeting, connecting, and just doing big things.
That's what you guys are doing too?
Yeah, pretty much. Trying to. Do you guys do any like activities like with members and stuff, or different sort of events? What's going on?
Yeah, so we try to do like yoga once a week.
I was just going to ask about that, but I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, we've got a lot of incredible friends and people that we know that are yoga instructors, so they'll come out and do yoga events, and we've been mixing up the days, trying to see what the best fit is, especially with the heat and stuff. But yeah, so we've been doing that. We have today we have an Unleash event, which is a dog publication, and so there'll be a bunch of dog vendors and local businesses. But we'll constantly be doing those kinds of fun community events. People do doggy birthday parties here too.
Oh, that's fun.
We try to have a music performer, some kind of live music every weekend. We also have food vendors that come and make different foods like tacos and some other folks. And then we'll have our grand opening actually July 20th, and we're going to have a big party here with a bunch of vendors, and all the dogs will be on leash that day, because we're going to open all the fences, all the gates, and just wide open, vendors everywhere, just fun, beer flowing, coffee flowing, tea flowing. It's going to be really, really fun.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
even back to your point about like the community and everybody not being on their phones and everything like that, just looking out over there, you have some great shade.
Yeah.
Keeps everybody kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then two, there is no one on their phone really over there. No. Not at all.
No.
And I was just looking at that like 15 minutes earlier, and I was like, that's amazing. No one, everybody's personalized, having a good time, interacting.
And I didn't even it's not something I really thought about. Somebody else had to bring it to my attention. And the thing is, too, like, typically if you're alone, that's like your, a little bit of a crutch. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's not a bad thing. We all do it. It's just, it's beautiful when you're enjoying something so much more than that you're like, wow. And you're just entertained constantly with all the pups running around. And then also the humans, like meeting these new people and or old friends. Like, it's very beautiful.
Plus, it's dangerous to be on your phone in there. Some people, we've seen people go down in numbers.
You got to keep your knees bent. This is a very important thing.
Lost
Keep your
a lot
knees
of beer.
bent in the park. Yeah. Keep them loose.
And people get peed on when they're not paying attention. So we
All
have
that happened one time.
We have
it was me.
tree benches that go around the trees, but then we also we wanted to keep it as natural looking as possible. So when we were clearing the land, I went and bought a tree felling axe from Home Depot. And just started whacking down trees. And just because I was like,
not whacking down trees, the ones that were dead.
The ones that needed to go.
Let's clarify.
I whacked them
tree
down.
huggers.
Yeah, and I was like, Lauren, can I chop this one down? She's like, no, don't chop that one down. So
Shady's like, it's half alive. It's gonna kill someone. Yeah. I'm like, no, don't leave it.
So we did save a lot of the trees, a lot of the native trees there, the sable palms, the oaks, and the pines. So that we could have that shade, and then from those trees we created stools out there that a lot of people are sitting on, and those are the ones that get peed on. So if you ever come here, just be wary of the tree stumps. Just don't be on your phone. You're sitting there.
What made you want to put the fountains and everything just for the dogs and getting it cool? I think they're awesome. Looking at them, it's crazy.
Where's mine, Matt?
Special
Okay.
delivery of a matcha latte.
There you go.
So a big thing is there's a lot of places where folks can go and their dogs swim. And a lot of times there's retention ponds that the dogs are swimming in, and so that can cause, it's typically pretty stagnant water. It can cause issues. I've had a lot of people I know that take their dogs to places that, they're drinking the water. There's no way to make your dog not drink the water.
Yeah.
So, you can be as, vigilant as you want, and sometimes that's just going to happen. So we knew we wanted to keep the dogs cool, but we wanted to do it in the best, healthiest
Safe,
way we
clean
could.
way.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of research, and we found this company that specializes in, so I was looking at like kitty splash pads, and then this company specializes in dog splash pads.
Huh.
And so that's who we had come out and build us our splash pad. So it's not recirculating water. It's not like a pool with a pump and filter. It's fresh water constantly. So every time you press the button, it's fresh water. And so the dogs can drink it, play in it, frolic in it. And even if they pee in it, it's not recirculating. It's fresh. And so it keeps them cool. And not all the dogs are as brave, I guess, to go in. Like some of our dogs are like, nah, I'm good. So we also have little pools throughout the park that the dogs love to just jump in and like hang out and frolic from one to the other. It's so fun to watch.
We just pulled up, and we were pulling up. One was just running through it the whole time. I was like, dang, all right. He's all about that
Some of
water.
those and there's actually a dog who learned how to press the button himself.
Really?
So,
No way.
yeah, he jumps up.
That's-
Ragnar.
that's
His name is Ragnar, and he says shepherd and jumps up and presses the button himself. It's so impressive.
And there's a dog that gets possessive of the splash pad, and when he's over there, he won't let any of the dogs
we had
play
to
in the
take 'em
splash
out.
pad with him.
We had to take 'em out.
They're all so different and just
Oh my
so
God,
fun to
it's
watch.
beautiful.
Like if you just stand
Yeah,
in
the
there for 5 minutes,
personalities.
you're like, oh, okay. So Frenchies all do this, Corgis all do this. Yeah, no, it's great.
It is, and there's so many breeds that like come in. I'm like, what is? I don't even know
Yeah.
what that is.
Yeah.
Like it's
A
so
mystery
cool.
breed. Guess
And
that breed.
Yeah, it's really fun. So
So,
Yes.
what do your referees do? What's their...
So the referees are here for
Job.
supplemental supervision.
Okay.
So they're not pooper scoopers. They're not, the po-pos. They're not meant to be intimidating standing there. Like if you've ever been to a concert
Yeah.
and you're
Security.
cruising through with whatever's in your pocket and you're like, man, I hope that guy doesn't smell or see me because I'm
what
scared
are you talking
now.
about, Jason?
You get kind of self-conscious and we don't want that to be the thought when someone sees someone in a red shirt. It's like, oh, okay, well, they obviously spent a lot of time in training, so let's ask them. And we try and provide that extra education to owners that may not understand sort of the subtleties of a dog park and how to operate in it safely.
Yeah.
So if we notice someone's and this is one of my favorite things about Brewhound so far is being able to teach someone so that they're then comfortable and it becomes their home. You go to a party at someone's house and you don't know anyone there. You walk in, you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to go to the bar, and then I'm going to stand by the bathroom and hope no one comes and talks to me, or hope someone comes and saves me. And so that's what we're here for. We're that host. Hey, welcome into the dog park. I see your dog's a little nervous. I see you're a little nervous. Your dog's feeding off your energy. Here's what we can do. We can kind of do a little migration around the park, and that should kind of clear things up. Because most people, if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
And so if we can influence that and sort of help them to integrate into their home, their dog park home, that's one of the most special things. We've seen it countless times. Dogs and owners coming in super nervous. One in particular, Lexi, she's a pit bull mix, and her owners got her the day before they decided to come to Brewhound. They were so nervous and scared, and so we can utilize that as an opportunity to influence some positive
More like
change.
a teaching moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we took them around the park, and by the end of the night, they were standing over there in the merchandise area, picking out their T-shirts and figuring out which membership to buy. And they're like, "Thank you, thank you." Like our dog had so much fun, and we were so scared at first. Like, there's nothing to be scared about.
No, it's
You know?
awesome.
Yeah, and so that's and so our referees are highly trained, and one of the things in particular is to recognize signs of any kind of aggression and or discomfort in the dogs before it escalates to something like a fight or an altercation or any kind of scuffle. So they're trained to kind of identify that and kind of nip that in the bud before it happens.
and then to
one of the
teach
neat
owners about,
Yeah.
hey, why did you do that? Well, because if you'll notice, when the dog their head gets lower, their ears go back,
Their
and they
tails
have a fixed
tucked,
gaze,
Yeah.
they're going to pounce. Like something bad's about to happen. And then so when the owners start to, like, oh, that's cool. How'd you see? Okay. And then they start watching, and they're like, oh, I see. And then they see the little corgis running around, like, trying to, like, corral everyone. It's interesting. Yeah.
Is there
Corgis are like the
Lifeguards?
bouncers. The lifeguards, yeah. You settle down. You settle down. Yeah.
Is there like a timeout zone, or is it more
Yeah,
like if
good
something
question.
were to happen, what's the procedure? Where do you go from there? You like bounce it out, or
Yeah, in the event that we do have to pull a dog out, everyone has a slip lead on them. All the referees do. We ask that owners hang on to the leashes, but most don't, and that's okay. So we have slip leads. So if we need to slip lead a dog and just pull them out really quick, we'll identify the aggressor. If it's both of them and it's kind of a mutual agreement, we'll pull them apart, bring them into the small dog area if it's empty.
Right.
Which generally it is, because most folks go into the big dog park, and because that's
Even with
where
their
all the
small
action's
dogs,
at.
'cause they're welcome to,
tiny
yeah.
dogs, yeah.
Tiny
we
dogs.
just saw
Yes.
little Yorkie.
Oh
Like,
my
Yeah.
God.
walk
Yeah.
there, like, whoa.
And there's a Great Dane that's like 300 pounds, and this little Yorkie's like 7 pounds. You're like, okay, we can be friends. I'll pull a thorn out of your foot. So we'll take them to the small dog area if it's empty, and if not, we'll pull them out. And generally by that time, the owner, even if they're not paying attention, they kind of see what's going on. Oh, that's my dog. And, they'll come out and be like, hey, what happened? And everyone's been really responsible.
That's
Yeah,
really
they're like, oh, my dog's kind of a dick anyway, so I understand that. Like, we're just, just 5 minutes, let them kind of calm down a little bit, and most folks are totally cool. They're like, yeah, we get it. We'll chill out and grab some beer and go back in, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
totally, fine after that. Yeah,
De-escalates.
totally.
So what's the beer options?
I was just
How
gonna
did you
say, speaking of
decide
beer.
Yeah, right.
where you went, who you brought in? Is there
Yes.
certain what distributor you guys use?
Yeah, so we only have local beers on tap, so only Jacksonville beers on our taps.
We like to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and a lot of folks are like, oh, are you going to get into brewing? We're like, no, there's so many people that do an incredible job here. We don't need to do that. We got enough going on with dogs. But yeah, that was really important to us to just support everything we have is craft. So we have craft coffee from Bold Bean. We've got craft tea from Yum Cha. We've got craft beer from our local breweries, and we mix it up. We mix up which beers we have and which breweries are on tap. Right now we have Ardwolf on tap. We've got Engine 15 on tap. We have Wicked Barley, Southern Swells. What else we got on tap? Intuition. Yeah.
We only have 6 taps. You named them all. And
Got 'em.
Nitro coffee
I
from
can do
Bold
math.
Bean. But,
Okay.
because we decided initially to go with a smaller number of taps, and this is the one thing that I actually retained from college, I think, from advertising at Tennessee, is more options don't necessarily mean, a better service, better beer, whatever. So, and we've got a lot of really good beers to choose from here. So generally we'll have 2 taps. There'll be an IPA variant, New England style, or what have you, and then the other 4 will be pretty like a hef, something light for the summer. Once it gets a little colder, we'll probably switch to a darker beers, and then lager, pills, ambers, just kind of a small grouping. But we do rotate them out pretty frequently, and it's only been a month and a half. We try and have Karate in the Garage on at all times when it's available. And
but a lot goes into our thought process on the beers that we have, even the ones we have in a can, which we do have a lot of canned options as well. And Cutwater, we have ciders, we have all the options for folks, ginger beers and vodka drinks. So with that, all of that is like highly selected. We're not just carrying something to carry something. So even the beer, even though we have 6 taps, we're vetting those breweries and that beer to make sure it's the best offering for our folks.
Yeah, I love the Engine 15 lemon shandy. I think it's so good.
Yeah.
So refreshing.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
gosh.
even if you've had it for 20 or 30 minutes, it still tastes cold.
Yeah,
You're like, man, that tastes so cold. And it's been in direct sunlight for 30 minutes.
I just tried
How'd
the
they do
magic.
that? Yeah.
Magic
sour
potion.
stuff, too.
Yes,
The Ardwolf,
Ardwolf.
sound
Yeah,
like
the
sour.
Ardwolf's real good.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm trying to think I guess I gotta keep doing this.
Yeah.
So
Lean
Keep
in.
driving
where'd you
crazy
go?
over there. I keep kicking him under the table.
the Wicked Barley, we sat down with them, and that was an experience. Philip was awesome. He was showing us all this different stuff and telling us everything, and they make some killer beer.
They really do.
Their branding's outstanding.
Yes.
So
and their facility is beautiful too. Like and they've definitely harnessed that outdoor, that outdoor, kind of energy of folks coming and hanging outside, which is, we don't have a lot of this here at the beach, which is kind of why there's not a lot of like beer gardens. There isn't any place you can really sit outside and hang, where you're not like on a main road. It's far and few between. So dogs aside, that was one of the things we really wanted to have, where people could just sit, enjoy being outdoors and hanging out, and not being on a main road, like kind of tucked away in the trees here.
Yeah, it's one of the things a lot of breweries have trouble with. Not a ton of them have outdoor space, so it's good that you guys can provide. Did you guys have any like standing relationship with some of these breweries beforehand, or did that all kind of develop as it's developed?
Well, actually, really, like when we first came up with the idea, our day job, which we still have our day job, but we're gonna get back to that.
Sort of.
We're environmental scientists, but this little office that we had was right across from where Southern Swells was going in, and they hadn't. I think they were just we were eagerly anticipating their opening because our office was across the street. And when they finally opened, I had reached out to Kate and asked her if I could ask some questions just about like opening a business at the beach, just like and she was like, oh my God, come in, yes, anytime. And we sat down and I just asked her these like very basic and some like, we got off on tangents and stuff, but so supportive. And I didn't even know at that time how that would be received. We've never done anything like this, so it was like, I don't know anyway, it was just such a family feeling of like whatever you need, whatever questions you have. And we've experienced that so much with Bold Bean, with various other breweries, like in Mini Bar. They've helped us out with questions, equipment, like such a supportive community of businesses. And there's no like competition there. It's all just what can we do to help each other, because we're all in this together, and it's a beautiful thing.
I think you noticed that with...
I think a flower just blossomed over there. Our citronella tree.
Oh, man. I definitely think you noticed that in the beer industry, especially with... It's more about companionships than it is competitors.
Yeah.
And then in Jacksonville alone, I think you also noticed that with small businesses, how they really rally together everywhere. And... since I've been down here, I've noticed it, and it's an awesome sense of community when it comes to Jacksonville being like that. So it's something that I think all small businesses can come together and really look forward to. And it's a great way to do business.
And when we learned, a lot of that too, when we were going through our Bold Bean training for coffees and working all these specialty coffees and pouring lattes and doing latte art and milk stuff, and it was incredible. But all of the folks there too, really, they branch out and they assist all these other coffee shops that are opening up, because it's like the more education on like coffee and the craft aspect of it and what goes into it. Before it even gets to like this point of being in a cup, but like the farmers and like the distribution and how the weather affects the growth of each bean and like all this stuff that goes into everything. And then it, to fruition comes to this tasty thing that you're presenting to somebody to sip on, just like beer. Same thing, like the growing of all that process. There's so much into it. And so just educating people on that and being in it together to kind of grow that appreciation for the product is why I think everybody should be in it together, because you're just, that's the goal.
No, as a community, you're only as good as your worst beer. Like that's... everyone's in it, all hands on deck.
It elevates. Once you elevate, your competitors elevate you. It makes you rise to the challenge in a sense.
And at no point, specifically Bold Bean, and all of them really that have helped us along the way, Southern Swells, like at no point in the conversation from, start to finish on how we passionately prepare our coffee or beer, etc., is there a dollar sign in there? No. You know what I mean? Like, we need it to keep going,
the end thought.
But it's not a part of the equation. Whenever you hear these craftsmen, craft women talk about it, which is, for me, I don't know, that's one of the coolest things.
It's just about providing your passion and sharing it with other people.
Like if your passion's money, cool. But if your passion's beer, let it be beer. The money will happen. Dogs, it'll happen. You just gotta love the process.
Yeah. That's very true.
No, all you, buddy.
Is there anything you guys want to get out to viewers, any customers, anything like what do you guys see too down the road? What do you want? What are your plans? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good question. We are having our grand opening on July 20th, so that'll be a fun event that we're going to have here, and we'll create that event online. I should have done it already, but stuff. But we want people to come check it out, and whether or not you have a dog or not, that's a big question we get. Do I have to have a dog to come there? And absolutely not. There's plenty of dogs here. You have to like dogs. But no, you come hang out on the porch, come into the yard, experience it, get a coffee, tea, beer, wine. We've got wine on tap, which is incredible too.
Oh.
Yeah, and so wanting to offer, I'm a big red wine drinker, and a lot of times in Florida you're like, man, that red wine's probably about 85 degrees in that bottle. I don't know how I feel about that. So, just having and then it's delicious craft wine. Right now all our wine is from Napa, and it's incredible. But that aside, just having people come out and check the place out and feel it for yourselves. We're going to have a screen. We're going to be doing, tailgates for football season. We're going to do movie nights. We're just going to do all sorts of fun stuff to bring the community together, involving kids, involving dogs, involving humans, like all of it. Just something for everybody, so that, because we have a wide range of members and clients, it's any infants to people that are 90. I mean, people coming in and just enjoying the space, and that's what we want to just continue to have.
That's great.
And if you want to bring a lawn chair and just get a tan, you can do that too. Sun. And so, being more than just a dog park bar, I would say. So we had a gal the other day and she's a regular, and she brought in, I don't know what she does for work, but she brought in some kids that I believe were on the spectrum for autism, and she brought them into the park, and Lauren was like, hey, I think, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's amazing, and the kids were having so much fun and just
lighting up,
and they were being responsible and everything. And so it's like things like that we want to start looking into as well. If any of the listeners belong to an organization such as that and want to reach out and do something that we can help